Welcome to our sixth episode of Host the Pro, where disruptive influencers talk about e-commerce marketing. Today we have Dariana Lozana with us. Hey, Dariana.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. So Dariana is a social media expert and speaker and from New York City.
Yes.
How's the weather today in New York City?
Today is cloudy. It's a beautiful time in New York City. Springtime is my favorite here, but it can get kind of sketchy. Like one day is warm, then the next day is like cold and kind of windy and cloudy. So that's the kind of day we had today, but it's all good. I'm happy the warmer weather's here. I can't wait to do things outside
Yeah.
because we've been
Sounds
locked up
like
all
decent
winter. So
marketing with all the up and downs.
yes, it's been a crazy ride, especially given the world situation that we're all going through right now. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we just got to go a day at a time.
So we're going to speak today about social media for e-commerce brand. And
Yes.
first, I'd like to ask you, why is it so important, and why now than any other time before it is so important to invest in social media?
Yes, I've been doing social media marketing for a decade, and I always thought it was important to do social media. It's such a direct line of communication between your business and the consumer that I just find it to be integral for many different parts of your business, not just selling, right? So you can take feedback and use that to create more products in your business, or maybe fix a process that might not be working. Maybe you get customer feedback that, they're not getting their emails or something like that. There's always different applications to social media that it's not just limited to making sales. So the sooner you can get started, the better.
Okay. And a lot of the times when, e-commerce brand gets started and, they see paid advertising works and they
Yeah.
improve their conversions, and those are the main funnels they see. And
Hmm.
then they reach to a point where, okay, I need to have, lower CPA, right?
Yes,
How
yes.
does how does social media fit in within that, dilemma and challenges?
Right. So if you're able to build a strong brand organically, then that's, besides paying someone to manage things for you, if you're at that point, you're not really spending any money, right? So the focus is to really build an engaged community organically if you can. There's nothing wrong with spending money if you have the budget. I always suggest to spend it. And with that comes a whole other world of, optimizing and testing and figuring out what works so that you can get your costs down. So advertising is a process. Don't think just one ad is going to make all the difference for you. You're probably going to go through many versions and then you can optimize your budget. But if you want to spend even less money, trying to build that brand organically is where you're going to see a win.
Cool. And what would be, the things that you say those are the main pillars of building a successful social media engagement with your audience?
Yes. So it changes so much from brand to brand, right? But the main things that we see work is that the brands we work with, we definitely have goals that we work towards. And of course, those look different for everyone. One brand might be working on expanding their reach, while another one might be working on increasing their engagement or getting those click throughs, right? Getting people to actually hop off that network. Or maybe you created a shop on Instagram and you're just trying to get people to click on the shop button there. So goals are super important because they will dictate where your strategy goes. And that's the other element, is that you always need a strategy. If you're just kind of posting here and there, you're not really sure what to post, you're only posting about, here's my product, here's my product, here's my product. Like that's not going to work. So you have to have a strategy that is goal based, but then also integrates being social, which is the third element, is that you really nowadays have to be social. Uh, I've been doing this for 10 years. 5, 10 years ago, you could put a post up and you were almost guaranteed people would see it. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
We're in a world of algorithms and, having to learn how the networks function in order to, appease the algorithm so more people see you. So really having an engagement strategy as well as part of your overall strategy is really important, and it is time consuming, but it's something that needs to be done. So, and then those are the three main things that any successful social media strategy has.
Cool. Can you give some examples of, very successful engagement on social media that shown, very incredible results for brands that, you saw or you managed?
Yeah, so I think when you build a buzz before you launch a product, I think that works very well. And I've seen it work very well. That's when you can create lots of money from one social media post, but it's not really that one post, right? It's that lead up until the product launches. So I always tell my clients to leave enough space for that. And usually I like launching in kind of like 4 weeks. You let people know what's coming, then you really educate them about the product or service or what that might be and what the benefits are. And then you actually launch, right? So you spend some time launching, getting people to click on things. Not everybody sees everything. So you want to give yourself as much time as possible to be successful. So launching, I think, and really thinking about what that timeline looks like, I think is super important.
Okay. So you're kind of building a perception here, right? It's not only about putting
Yes.
together some calendar, we're going to post about this and this, and this is my
Yes.
strategy.
Yeah, yeah. You have to let them know, like, we have something coming, and then educate them a little bit about what's going on, or maybe talk about what their pain points are, and then say, hey, here's the solution, after you've warmed up your audience a little bit. So I think having that process is important. And that's how I've seen the most success from e-commerce. Of course, if you're already a big brand, you can just post something and you'll get the traffic. But our little brands, we have to work a little bit more in order to, create that revenue that we want when we launch.
Do you have some social media guerrilla secrets you think that work the best for e-commerce brands?
Yes, I mean, I think you have to take every opportunity you can to sell, but you have to balance that out with value that you're giving your customer, right? So maybe that is showing them, ways to use your product that they hadn't thought of before, right? Besides the original function. I think it's important to kind of give that value, but also don't be afraid to sell, because I see that a lot where people are like, I just have to give value. Like, no, yes, but you also have to tell people what to do. So always use a call to action, raise that engagement. So have people answer questions, get used to them hearing to tap to buy, things like that, I think is really important. I think you can go either way. You can either be selling too much or you're not selling enough. And that's what I usually see. So that's the secret. I mean, there's no, I
No
feel like
magic
there's
there.
the growth hacking. I think, yes, I think there are methods, interact with your fans before you post and shortly after you post. Things like that work. But if you don't have the fundamentals and that foundation, it doesn't matter how many growth hacks you try to do, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think, in marketing specifically, there are sometimes those conceptions that, yeah, there is kind of
Yes.
magic that can happen there.
Yeah, like there's one thing you can do that's going to blow it up.
Exactly. And I think in social media, even more than anything, being very much consistent and,
Yes.
repeating and doing that correctly in a very structured way is actually the
Yes.
magic.
Exactly. That is the magic. And I think, one misconception about that I want to talk about is that, consistency doesn't mean showing up every single day. I think if that's too much for your brand, don't do it, because you're just going to burn out. You're not going to want to do it anymore. It's not going to work. You're going to have like the wrong energy behind it. So really, knowing that audience, knowing how much content you can put out, I think it makes more sense to say, okay, I want to consistently post 3 times a week, and this is what we're going to talk about. I think that's more powerful than trying to show up every single day, because that doesn't necessarily mean you'll see results. So focus on the quality of what you're putting out as opposed to, just posting because you feel like you have to.
Yeah. And also according to your ability and your capacity and
Yes.
your budget.
Yeah, exactly. You have to look at what you can do and then how to maximize that. I think that gets you further than just, okay, I have to post something. What am I doing? What am I putting up?
Yeah. Cool. If you had to give, one tip of don't do this mistake with social media for e-commerce
Yeah.
brands, what would it be?
There's so many, right?
I know.
There's so many things to not do.
You'll need to choose one.
I know. I think, what we just talked about is one, just not feeling that pressure to just put things out there. I think the other thing to not do is also you have to be open to testing new things. So don't get stuck in one, just one cycle. If you're doing something for 3 months and it's not working, just let it go and try
Yeah.
something else. Sometimes we're saying the right thing, but we're not, our messaging isn't right. So maybe switching that. And also don't make too many changes at once. Change
Yeah.
one thing at a time, because if you do too many, you're not going to know what worked or what didn't work. So that's my big piece of advice there. And to always, there's another one, always look at analytics. This is more of a do and not a don't. But look at your analytics and see what's working.
Yeah.
That's the main thing you can do for success is if you're already seeing things come in, where is that success? Where can I replicate that?
Cool. So it's basically doing proper A/B testing on your social media, not just
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
paid advertising.
Exactly. You have to test. And I think, it can be scary to test because you don't know if things are going to work. And sometimes you attach ego to it, right? And you're like, if I put this out there and it doesn't work, what does that mean about me? And you can't do that. You kind of have to detach yourself, especially on the smaller brand side, right? So if you're talking about the entrepreneur that's just putting products out on their own, sometimes you have that emotional connection. And sometimes we have to step back from that. So it's okay to fail. It's all right. It's social media. You can delete it. But try different things.
Okay, amazing. It was a true pleasure, and so many tips for our e-commerce brands and audience. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I hope you got some value out of that. I think,
Tons.
I think we're always looking for that magic. You're always looking for that one thing. And I'm guilty of it myself. You're always like, what is it? What is that one thing? But it really is, social media is like a machine, and all the different parts have to move together, as frustrating as that can be. But once you get it, you can just replicate it over and over and over. So that's the goal, right? Is to get to that point where, okay, I know this kind of post works for my audience. They like to see videos. So I'll make a video about this product that I'm launching, and it just becomes so much easier when you get there. So keep going. It's not just one thing. It's going to be all the things working together.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank
true
you.
pleasure. And תודה רבה.